marriage was so strained from past stuff. You know, like, you have to heal. I wasn't healed. So I chose to stay, and the outcome of me staying changed me. So now when he's changed for the better, I'm a bitch. So I forgave, but I didn't realize that I was still resenting him for things.
The funniest thing that we see out here is when these women who've had these millionaire husbands, and we don't know who these women are. We just know that they've been married to this millionaire man, right? One example is Tammy Rivera, Waka Flocka's ex-wife. Now, they were off and on and going through the things, and here's this man who had this phenomenal career, very successful, very popular, cult following, you know, touring artist, still able to tour now off songs that he made a while back, and has an audience for his new music. And I say this to you, a woman thinks she's very important because of the life she builds on the back or on the shine or on the glow of her husband, who had fame and notoriety already. But what a woman finds out is that after the years, when they split up, that man has better options than that woman does, unless that woman wants to be a 304, a la Drea Michelle, and she's okay with living that life and, you know, just having a baby to get the bag from a younger man that she really doesn't want. Well, here's the problem. Now that Waka has moved on, Tammy is in her feelings, and she's online venting about his new, young, pretty girlfriend. What does that have to do with her? As long as that woman isn't doing anything to harm you or your child, why do you care? You care because deep down inside, you thought you were going to be able to do what Waka is doing. And that's having a younger, more spry, more physically appealing, more caught up in his wave version of you. See, a woman gets to the point where she believes that whatever you guys have together is about her, but it's never about her. When a man has fame and notoriety and you watch him and you uplift your life based on his grind, then you're never the important one. It's never about you. To that man, you may be the apple of his eye, but the bottom line is, to the world at large, Tammy Rivera is Waka Flocka's ex-wife. And all she ever was Waka Flocka's wife.
Tell us the truth!
What's not okay is for that woman to believe that she has a right to speak on the life you have after her. She decided that she didn't want to be in this situation anymore, as she's been deciding over the years. Well, Waka finally said, okay, baby girl, let's go ahead and part ways. And now he's living his best single life. And what's she living? She's living the wall banger reality that unless you are absolutely drop dead gorgeous with a tight body to compete with the younger version of yourself, you don't have options after you've been in a long-term relationship like this. So a woman like Tammy Rivera, her best bet is just to stay with Waka Flocka. But these women don't live in that world. They live in this social media world where they believe because somebody's jumping in their DMs. These women don't understand. There's a lot of men who are jumping your DMs when you're married that won't jump into your DM when you're single. Because here's the thing about a single woman. A single woman possibly wants more than just intimacy with you. A woman that's with someone, guys who just seek intimacy from women, that's why they end up just dealing with a woman who's already got someone, because they know the one thing they want is all that woman has time for, and that woman cannot take the risk of, blowing her cover, trying to sweat you and hawk you and be all on you all the time and do all of that. That's why these women believe that when they get out of those situations, they have those options because men were hawking them while they were married. But the married version of you is a safer bet. For the unscrupulous man who's willing to sleep with a man's wife. I'm not speaking for me or the alpha sphere. I'm speaking for guys that were possibly in her DM, giving her this false sense of attractiveness and false sense of desirability that a woman just doesn't have when she gets to a certain age. That's just the reality of it, man. So here's the thing, and Kevin Samuel said this a lot, and women got in their feelings about it because they thought he was saying that, okay, when you're 35, you're no good. No, it's not that when you're 35, you're no good. There are some phenomenal 35, 40, 45-year-old women out here, even older than that. There are some phenomenal women out here. But when it comes to a man wanting to create a family with someone, you've already done it multiple times. You've already done it and failed at it multiple times. Like, it's not really desirable to try to have a family with a woman who's already done it for years with another man and it didn't work out. Like the newness of it, the best that a woman can give as far as creating a family is the first time she tries it. There's something lost once it fails and she's given so much of herself and her time and effort and energy to it, and there may or may not be children, multiple children from the situation even, and that woman doesn't understand that a man who's wanting to create a family the first time, or even a man who's wanting to create a family after he's gotten some wealth, it changes his outlook on creating family. A man wants a woman who's gonna go all in. You know, if I can go in, let's go house hunting, baby girl. I want a woman who hadn't done that shit before. I want a woman who hadn't taken these trips before. I want a woman who hadn't had that baby before. And I'm in the labor and delivery room, man, dressed up like a doctor with my scrubs on. Man, I want a woman who is new to that experience because I want her to enjoy it as I'm going to enjoy her enjoying it. You know what I'm saying? Like, no man really wants to have that with a woman who's already had, especially in a tumultuous situation like she has tried to present it their marriage as. That's why she keeps going in and out of it and want to be in it and not want to be in it, and she's happy and she's not happy. The bottom line is, if you're a woman and you're young and you're beautiful and you marry a man, your best bet is just to stay with that man, because if you don't, you're going to come to the realization the same way Tammy has come to the realization that that man has better options than you. He's going to have better options than you. And that's just the way it is. If he's successful and you're successful, he's still going to have better options than you, because an older successful man is more attractive to a younger woman than an older successful woman is to a younger man, unless that man is just looking for a come up and looking for the bag. So yes, you could find someone to do that, but it's not going to be the same, because as you aged, you didn't age with the mindset that you were going to leave your husband and you were going to need to be back to that version of yourself, or as close as you could be to that version of yourself when you met him. You can't be the 30-pound heavier version of young Tammy Rivera and think you're going to have the same options that you had when you were younger. That's just not how it goes. As a man, you can maintain, let's say an NBA player. You're not making the same salary when you're out of the league that you did when you're in the league. You don't have the same visibility, but you can maintain and still be doing something that pays pretty well. You can have a contract with one of these sports networks that's paying you $250,000, $300,000 a year, which is a good salary for a man who already has his home, who already has his cars, who already has his clothes, who has spent years, becoming owners, getting into ownership of that stuff, for lack of a better way to put it. But I'll just say this, man, in closing, because I don't want to harp on this too long. A lot of times what women don't understand is that, and this is just the reality of life, your desirability wanes as you get older. Now, as a man, your desirability to a certain group of women wanes, but it's a very small group of women, because ultimately deep down inside, what women want is a man who's fairly attractive and in a position to provide provision and protection. Even a woman who doesn't want marriage still wants to be with a man who's in that position, because a woman knows she's emotional. She never know when the hell she gonna fall for this man. And if she falls for a man, she wants to fall for a man who's in a position for provision and protection. And a lot of times your age doesn't even matter as long as you're still attractive. You know what I'm saying? And for some younger women, as you get older, you're more attractive to some younger women, because even if you're in shape, mature muscle looks different from young muscle. You know what I'm saying? When you're confident, mature confidence looks different from young confidence. You know what I'm saying? That there's a laid back, I own the world type of dynamic to it as you get older. And that's just how it is. And women find that attractive. Some young women find that attractive, but a woman who's bitter from her previous engagement or previous marriage to a man, no one finds that attractive. No one wants to deal with the bitterness of a woman who got it from another man, but she wants to bring it to you and you got to deal with the fallout of it. None of us want that. It's the same thing if a man goes broke dealing with a woman. If you marry a woman, you get divorced and she takes everything, you end up living at home with your mama. Man, listen, boy, it ain't no woman out there that want to deal with you, especially if you got some visibility and a woman saw you live that life. Now she gonna deal with you and you ain't got nothing? No, but the bottom line is that rarely happens, because the most a woman can get from you is half. So half of whatever you had is better than nothing. But a woman with that bitterness in her heart is never going to go anyway, because the only man who can fix the bitterness in Tammy Rivera's heart is Waka Flocka. And Waka ain't worrying about it, because he got him a new pretty young thing that Tammy is absolutely jealous over. And it breaks her heart to know that that could have still been her. And she didn't even have to stay young and pretty like that. Waka Flocka was with her as she aged and got older. Now, she's not a bad looking woman, but she did age and get older, and she gained some weight and all of those things that happen when a woman gets older. But he was still there with her. So now she realizes, I should have just kept my husband and let him have this young tender right here. Because honestly, the things that young tender probably does for him, I don't even want to do it for him at this age. She should have listened to Iyanla Vanzant say, hey, I don't mind him having somebody at this point. And you don't have to get Iyanla's age to feel like that. When a woman hits the wall, she really feels that way. But she feels like she's been with you so long that she shouldn't have to deal with that until the shit is over. And then she realizes, man, that wasn't much to deal with. My life was so much easier when I had that man controlling things and taking care of things. Now I got to worry about all this stuff. And then I still can't find no man that was half as good as him. That's what happens to the majority of these women in these situations. And Tammy Rivera is an example of that. Y'all comment down below and let me know what you think about this topic, man. I look forward to hearing what y'all have to say. Subscribe for more videos. I'm out.